All right, what up? What up? We here. We are here. Let's get this cracking. We got Rashidi in the building. Kelly's not gonna be here today, but we're gonna keep it going. So today's topic is buy, borrow, and die. So what is that about? Explain to the people what's going on.
Well, let me play the thing. Let me play the thing where we got it from. Hold on. Let me get this out of there. All right, so we got the joint. Okay, these fucking things, they always come muted. Why? I don't understand why they do that.
I know, right?
Can I hear it?
Borrow, die.
Yeah. Can I hear it? Okay, let me reset it and then
Die. This is one of the best financial strategies I've ever learned as a financial expert. Let me break it down. Level one, you buy assets, whether that's stocks, real estate, but you put your earned income into assets. Level two is as the assets grow in value, instead of selling, you borrow against the value of the assets because loans are not taxable. So you borrow all this money and you live off of it. And then before you die, you purchase life insurance equal to the amount of debt that you owe. So then when you die, the tax-free life insurance proceeds pay off the debt. And now you're able to pass down tax-free money and tax-free assets to your kids. This is how we build true generational wealth for ourselves and our family. Buy, borrow, die.
all right. So yeah.
So Rashid, you gotta explain it to the slow people like me what he just said. Go ahead.
I got you, man.
Like,
I got
you. Talking about?
What the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, man. Like he said, buy, borrow, die. So pretty much it means just whether you're investing in real estate or the stock, you just got to buy those things and utilize the income. So to keep it simple, let's start off with real estate. If you buy real estate, the reason why it's smart to buy real estate is that if you get a property, you get a mortgage, once, especially in this market, the value of your property goes up every year. So meaning that say you buy a house for $300,000 in this market, the value that might go up by like $30,000 by the next year. But 2-3 years from now, it might be up 50-60 grand from there. As far as the value of the house. And say you got the house on a steal. Say you got the house was for $300,000, but it was already worth $330,000 when they did the appraisal. When the bank said, "All right, let's see what the house really worth." All right, it was for $300,000 you bought it for, but it was worth $330,000. It's 3 years later. Now the house is worth $450,000. That's where the next step is borrow. So buy, you bought the property. 3 years later, it's now worth $450,000. Boom. You can now take money out of it. That's where he says borrow. You take the equity out, borrow that money from the house to buy another house, or if you want to invest in stocks, whatever you want to do, because it's a loan.
Wait, hold on. So the house was $300,000. It was worth that, right? Then it became worth, let's say, $450,000. So it's $150,000 worth more. Now, so you're saying borrow the $150,000
from the house? You could ask the bank. You'll tell the bank like, "Hey, listen, I want to borrow from the house. Since the house is worth more than what you owe, you can borrow up to 75% of that money." So meaning that 150, you can borrow up to, I'm not green back, like 115,000, 120,000, whatever the case is. You borrow that from the bank. Like, yo, let me hold 120 out of it. They're gonna be like, "All right, we're gonna let you borrow 120 out of it because you got it's worth that money, so we know we good for it." Because if you don't give it to them, they're gonna take the house anyway. So they know you good for it. They let you borrow that 120. Now you can do whatever you want with that 120, whether you want to reinvest it in another house or stocks. And it's not taxable because it is a loan. You're paying back the loan. It is a loan. So you're not taking out and keeping it. So that's why he said it's not taxable. You could take that 120 and you could put it in a house. You could put it in an insurance policy, like we always say, where you could buy expensive policy, whatever the case is, and get a lot of equity that way. Because with the insurance policy, to keep it simple, is that the interest rate never drops below 2.5%, depending on the company, and you cap at 10%. So, you could put $100,000 into a policy, and by the end of the year, make an extra 15-20 grand, depending on the situation, depending on the stock market. So that's why it's buy, borrow, and die. So this way, you're never selling nothing. Because the problem is with a lot of people, they always trying to sell houses and flip houses. If you're not a flipper, it don't make no sense. If you follow that formula, you'll keep going. And the same thing with the stocks. Because if you're in a stock market and you borrow from that money, you don't really have to pay tax on it if you're not taking out the full exact amount. You know what I mean? So that's why you're saying buy, borrow, and then die.
So is it a guarantee that you can borrow the money?
Nothing's guaranteed. Like, you know the game.
Because I'm like, it's like, because I'm like, if you know, because I'm saying like, if the house is worth 450 now, so you got 150 to borrow, so that money you're borrowing from the bank. So the bank says your house is worth this, so we can give you this based on the fact that your house is worth that.
Exactly. They use your house as collateral. The same house they lent you money on already, they use that same house as collateral. So to your question, Mr. Locario, is that it's not guaranteed. It is guaranteed if you have your credit together, meaning that if your credit's still good, you're good to go. It just has to be a certain score. As long as your credit score is a certain score and you're still working, because you still got to be able to pay back the mortgage and everything else, you're good to go. So as long as everything's still normal, your credit is okay, or at least at a certain credit score, you still got income coming in, you're good. You know, now if you're doing some wild shit and your credit jacked up and blah blah blah, we talking a whole different ball game. But yeah. So
then basically, so then you can keep doing this forever, right? Is that what you make, like, kind of like what you're saying? So then you're trying to say, right? So if you have let's say you get let's say the house is 300,000, right? But doesn't a person has to get approved for the loan to get the first house that's worth 300,000 already, right? So once you get that loan, you get the house, and then you pay the mortgage, doing whatever you do. Then how long does it take for the value to go up for a house?
Depends on the market, bro. I mean, the past few years, house has been going on skyrocketing. So I put it this way: I use my own personal example. First off, disclosure: I'm not rich. I'm still financially uncomfortable. But that's that disclosure out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyway, you know what I mean. One of my rental properties I got, initially, I got it for 280 at the time. This is 2022, whatever the case is.
Right.
The home is now worth, $415K. You know what I mean? Currently in the process, because I have a garage that can be converted into a living space. Everybody on the street did it. I'm going to convert that into a living space. So I'm going to borrow money from my house. I'm going to borrow like 60, 70 grand. I got a quote for somebody that can do it for like 70, 80 grand. He's going to convert that garage into a living space that's detached from my house. So it's on my property. He's going to turn it into a living space for me, and I'm going to turn that into Airbnb. So I'm literally, in this example, borrowing from my house's equity to fix up that garage, and I'm going to turn that to Airbnb / area for travel nurses to rent out when they're traveling and make that money off it.
Right.
So I ain't never selling that house, bro. Like, there's no reason to. Like, you know what I mean? There's no reason to.
Right. Now that's what's up. So, but what happens, like, if you, let's say you borrow, but then you can't pay it back? You know what I'm saying? So you just keep borrowing until you die? Is that
then you wilding out. Like,
because let's say
that's how you go in debt. That's how you go in debt for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which is okay to have debt as long as you utilize it the right way. Now because people do that stupid stuff all the time. People will borrow money from their equity and from their house or stocks, and then they'll do renovations. So they'll fix up the house for it to look nice.
Right.
But why are you doing that? Because you just add it on the bill and it looks nice and it's good. But the only people that should be doing that is old people that's getting ready to die. You want your house to look perfect and be the perfect way. But if you're under 60 years old, I'm not saying not do renovations, but what are you doing it for? So to your point, Ms. Wakari, people do that all the time. They take money out to do other things. They come on financially hard times. So they have a job and their credit's still good, but they know they're about to come on financial hard times. A boiler went or some crazy device, something broke. You need $10,000, $20,000, whether it's a medical bill, whatever the case is. And they use that to pay that debt off, and then now you're in debt. So you're not making no money off it. So you can use it for emergencies, but it will cost you.
Right, because you got to pay all that shit back. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Crazy.
Exactly.
So the die part. What's the die part about? So it's just like keep flipping it and doing that same process until you die. That's what he's basically.
Exactly. Okay. Because in that same example, what happens is a lot of people try to sell their property. So, for example, if I was just looking at the money, not thinking straight, like, oh yeah, all right, I bought the house for 280. You know what I mean? It's worth $415 now. I paid off about $25,000, $30,000 off on a loan. Damn, I'm gonna walk away with like about $160,000. Let me just sell a house right now, walk away with $160. So that's why he say, don't sell, just die, just let it, because people will take that money out.
Right.
We all know the game, bro. If you get $160,000 in your hand, you got a plan for it. That money gone. If you're not investing in it, you just losing money.
Right.
So that's why he say just die. Don't flip it. Don't sell it. Just keep repeating the process.
Right.
You know, so
that's interesting. That's interesting. And so basically the money you borrow should be going into investing into some other shit. Absolutely. And then do it again and then borrow some more with the new shit and then invest. So basically you shouldn't be taking the money just to like, you know, go to Cancun and shit, right?
Exactly. I mean, you go to Cancun after you make the profit. You know what I mean? If you budget it properly,
right?
You still gotta treat yourself, but you know, just a limited budget, a little $5K real quick. That's it. You know what I mean? Like no 10, 15K, getting girls, none of that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like just keep it simple.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. But then what's the? Is there any what's what I'm looking for? Is there any drawbacks to it? Like, is there like you know, a negative of this, or it's like, you know, generally would be kind of going in a good direction with this?
Absolutely, man. I mean, you know, it's risk and everything. I mean, it's poor planning and poor preparation, meaning if you're not doing your research and you're doing stuff willy-nilly, yeah, it can backfire. Because remember, if you make a poor investment decision, then it can backfire because now you're stuck with a bill. And if your investment is not performing, then you hit. You know what I mean? So absolutely is a drawback. But that's why you gotta be smart about it, take your time, do your research, and talk to the right people and get documentation for whatever you're doing. So for the perfect example, I told you with the crib I got, you know, looking at contractors, but making sure the contractor actually has insurance to cover the property. God forbid if you mess something up, I don't want to hear him telling me he has insurance. I need to see his insurance coverage, see that it's active. So God forbid if you mess something up, I could sue his insurance, not him, because he don't got no money. His insurance I got the money. You know, making sure the contractor has with certain things, if they digging under with the pipes, they know how to pull the permits with the city. Why? Because if they don't know what they doing, they pull the wrong permits and you messing with the city will find me and tell you got to dig it up and keep finding me until I fix it properly. So it's just being thorough in the process, making sure all you cross your I's and dot the T's. Because if you don't, then you could get hit.
That's some real shit. That's some real shit. So how do you, so like, let's say a person wants to start this process, right? And they got to get a loan from the bank to even get the house in the first place. Because I know some people, you know, they don't know that process. So like, so they need the good credit first. Like, what's the process again for that?
The process is first going to www.rktrealestate.com, getting a quote. We'll go over that. But for air purposes, like you said, you know, the process is just getting your credit to where it needs to be. You know, typically with these type of loans, it depends if you're getting a house for the first time. You can get a house with as low as a 620 credit score. If you're pulling money out the house, they want your score to be a little bit higher. So most banks are not going to let you do it if you have less than a 680 credit score. There are banks out there. There's always somebody out there that give it to you for a lower credit score, but you know your payment's going to be sky high. You know what I mean? So it's to answer your question is making sure your credit is good, making sure your income is lined up, making sure you did your taxes properly. Once those three things are in place, you are good to go.
Dope. So this is why I gotta make sure your credit and all that shit is together. You know what I'm saying? That's why you guys gotta call rktrealestate.com to make that shit pop. You feel what I'm saying?
Just do it.
You know what I mean? Make sure you guys do that shit. You feel me? And so go ahead.
Do you see anybody in the chat, or I'm just?
Yeah, I don't see nobody either. Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, just making sure, because usually there's niggas in the chat, so I was just making sure it wasn't just my screen. Okay. And guys, if y'all want to ask a money question live, call in 919-647-9392, 919-647-9392. It says it's 14 people watching, so if y'all want to ask a money question, either put the question in the chat or you could call in 919-647-9392, 919-647-9392. But yeah, man, it's the process is It works. It works if you understand what you're doing. Because again, you know, like you were saying, Lucaria, some people they'll borrow money and then like splurge. It's not. That's not what it's really about. It's like a money management play.
Right.
You know, it's a way to manage your money. You know, like for example, you know, we was even talking behind the scenes about the difference between, you know, renting a place, like renting an apartment. But if you have the money or the cash flow and you have the decent credit score, it might make more sense for you to get like a condo or a house or a townhouse or something like that, because you get more space. And you maintenance is probably not that crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you get a house, then you got to worry about maintenance. But if you get a townhouse or a condo, then you have that's included in your maintenance fees. You see what I'm saying? Or your HOAs and shit like that. So you don't have to worry about the lawn and certain other maintenance. But it's about managing money a certain way, because like for example, if you're just renting, that means every month you're kind of just giving money to the company that owns the building that you live in. Right. But if you are paying a mortgage affordably, you know, if you're comfortably paying a mortgage on a condo or a townhouse or something like that, you are putting money on a property that you own. You understand? And if you move away from that property, you still own that property, and then you can rent out that property. You have options. You have things that you can do, and you could turn it into a money making, you know, opportunity for you. So the thing is that you buy the asset, you borrow against it if it has equity, and then he says what you say, when you die, you also get a life insurance policy that is equal or more than the money that's in that asset or in the assets. Because see, another thing is too, when you die, your family's going to get a certain amount of money.
Right.
Now, the thing is that they could do. So Rashidi, do they have to like pay off the asset or pay off the loan?
Depends what the family wants to do. So for example, in that situation where a family member dies, say it's a father and he got 2 kids or whatever the case is. Yeah. First off, he got to have his will and trust in place, aka www.rktrealestate.com. We do wills and trusts, but they got to have that in place.
Trust. Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, they got to have that in place and have somebody on the deed so they can take control. So the first thing is having somebody on the deed, whether it's one of the sons, whatever the case is. So in that situation, the bank is, if there's still money owed on the house, the bank is going to give that person the option, a limited time though, like 3 months or so on average, like, hey, do you want to sell this house? And then whatever profit is left over, you get it. So an example where it's a $400,000 house, you know, the father got a $50,000 mortgage balance, then, you know, the son would get $350K if he sell the house. Or the son could be like, all right, cool, I don't want to sell it. Let me take on a $50,000 loan. So he will take on a loan, put the loan in his name, and then just rent it out or do whatever you want to do with the family. You know, rent it out for $3,000-$4,000 a month, and him and the brother could split it each way at that point in time.
Exactly.
So you got options, but the first thing is having those things in play, man. You got to have your will and trust in place. You got to be on a deed. So these are things that people don't realize. And if these things aren't in place, the bank can take your house and walk away with the whole thing.
Real talk. Man, he said, okay, so Ibram said, how much money would you typically need to save up for an investment property based on the markets you've seen?
You know, another reason why I go to www.rktrealestate.com to book an appointment is because, first off, we wouldn't guide you to get an investment property to start off with if you don't have a first-time home. Why? Because if you get an investment property, you have to put 20% to 25% down. So that means, simple math, a $200,000 house, you're going to have to put $40,000 down. But if you actually utilize the website and call us and talk to us about it, we'd be like, hey, instead of going a straight investment route, go with your first rented, owner-occupied house. Instead of putting $40,000 down, you only got to put down $13,000 down. And then there's programs that help you with the down payment. So you could be in a perfect situation with these programs where you only put $2,000-$3,000 out of pocket for the whole deal, and you got a house. So to answer your question, that's the short answer.
Oh shit! All right. So what else should people know about this buy, borrow, and die? Is this like is there any other like specific things they need to know, or is it just like, you know, getting the asset, you know, borrowing from it and then dying?
No, it's as simple as that, man. I tell people all the time, the real message behind it is utilize your income the way it's set up right now. Meaning that if you're working a 9 to 5 and you pay your taxes every year, there's no reason why you're not following this formula, because whether it's real estate you invest in or stocks, you can use that money to invest. I literally tell people all the time, if you're working a 9 to 5 and you making at least $40,000, $45,000 a year, you're literally wasting your income. You're probably living in an apartment. These, depending on where you live, you're paying like $1,800, $2,000 a month for rent. When if you got your own condo, even start off small, it'd be the same price, and you can use this formula. And all you would need is that income, keep your job, keep maintaining your job, making sure you're doing your taxes, and getting your credit score to the right place. And we deal with all 3 phases with RKT: realtors, credit consultants, property managers, and we even manage a property when you're ready to get into that investment side of it. But that's why you got to utilize that situation, man. And if you're not a 9 to 5, if you're a business owner, you know, we just teach you how to utilize your income, making sure you're doing taxes the right way, having a healthy balance of what to write off and not write off, so you can use your business income to do the same exact thing.
So is there a way possibly, right, to get, so like, let's say for example, I don't got no money, right? So now I'm trying to get a loan to get a property, right? So now I get the loan and I get the property, right? So now let's say that property, same example, is $300,000, and then it becomes worth $450,000, right? So then I take the 150 out the bank as the loan. I put, let's say with that 150, I put that in a you know, an account or something like that, a mutual fund account or whatever, right? And I just let it sit there. Now, could I possibly go get another loan like I did the first time, or is that
you can, but it wouldn't be through the house again. It'll be the profit you made from that stock account that you invested in just now. So that's why. So it would be like, so I couldn't start from scratch again. I can't like. Yeah.
Okay, right. So because I'm like, if that's a loophole, people could just keep doing that shit.
Yeah, you got to make profit off of profit. Right. So that's why that's a perfect example you gave. You put it in another stock. So think about it. If you invest in stocks, in the right stocks, that money could, when the highs are the highs, depending on what type of stock you're doing, you know, that could be a 30%, 40% gain over a short period of time. So you can make massive money. Then take that profit and then buy another property and repeat the same process, and then take that profit and then put another insurance policy to keep doing it. So it is a whole bunch of ways to do it.
Yeah, that's great.
There's a lot of shit. But I think this is good because at least it shows how, you know, the average everyday person, there's something that they can do to be able to, you know what I'm saying, to make that feasible. You feel what I mean?
Right.
Because I think, you know, a lot of times, and that's the thing, the interesting thing about real estate is that, you know, you don't need to be smart or have any talent. You feel that's the, you know what I'm saying? Because in other things, it's like you got to kind of know how to do shit. But with this, is more so kind of like, okay, well, there's still work that's put into it, and there's still you being able to, like, you know, do the things that need to be done. But it's like, you know, it's an interesting formula to be able to like do it this way also. You see what I'm saying? Right. That's what's up. That's what's up. So do you teach people how to do this particular thing when they hit you up?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Everybody we rock with, whenever they get their first house, we let people know, get out of the simple mindset. Anybody we doing business with, this is your first starter home. So we tell people, like, yo, when you're doing the real estate route, this is not your forever home. You're not going to love it. You're just going to kind of like it. It's going to get the job done, get you in the door. And then a year later, we're going to get you this investment property from here and get you 2 or 3 properties. So by the time you retire, you can walk away in the sunset with $1 million and still leave a house for your kids if you want to. You know what I mean? Then it may make sense to sell, because if you get 3-4 properties and by the time you retire, they're all paid off, you could keep 2 and sell 2. Keep the 2 for you, live the life you want to live, and then leave the other 2 for the family.
Yo, I know a guy, bro. Old cat, bro. He got 4 houses.
Mm.
4 houses, and he just lived, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he don't do nothing. Like he literally just kind of he live off the rents from his 4 houses.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and he does this other thing where he teaches people to do flips. So he still does that every once in a while. Like he'll flip out. He'll flip like 2-3 houses a year. You want to just make some extra money or whatever. But he lives like, I love meeting people who are mad simple. They just be chilling. They just collect rent and chill.
Right.
Like, there's a lot of people out there like that, but you got to set your life up. You got to set your life up early. You know what I'm saying? You got to set it up early. And a lot of people don't realize that. You know, a lot of people don't want to get into real estate. A lot of people don't want to own property because, yes, there is a big responsibility, but there's a lot of rewards, especially when you start looking at retirement and shit later on. Because having an asset is a beautiful thing, because if you run into trouble, you could always sell it and get a nice influx of funds.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And that's what people don't understand. When you rent in a place, you're just renting a place.
Mm-hmm.
You're not, you know, it's cool, but you're not doing anything for you. You're only protecting the asset of the people that own the building that you rent in. You know what I'm saying? So if you have the opportunity to own something, you should, you know?
Real talk.
Ibrahim says, can you avoid huge down payments with loans such as FHA or multifamily property? Or can't you avoid?
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is, Ibrahim, that's why you got to call us. That's exactly why I said you don't want to start with the investment. The FHA cannot be an investment when you first start off. FHA is residential, and to your point, you only have to put 3.5% down with the FHA loan. But again, that's why there's programs where you don't even have to put that down. They actually do down payment assistance programs where you don't even have to put that 3.5% down. It's like a grant given to you depending on your state. So that's what I'm saying. So yes, you're completely right. And for the multifamily, you still have to put the same amount down, but the benefit of the multifamily is you can rent one side out, live in the other side, and the rent from one side either pays up to 75% of your mortgage or all of your mortgage. So essentially, is the cost of living for you is next to nothing.
Right. Man, real shit. So any last words, last things to let people know before we wrap this up? And shout out to K-Style, Jay Walker, and Ibram in the chat. But any last joints?
Yeah, man. I mean, the last words for anybody listening, man, go to this website, book an appointment so we can talk about all this type of stuff. Ibram, you know, you better give us a call. Don't ask some more questions if you don't give us a call. You know what I mean? But everybody in the chat, man, like that, even the crypto dude, like at the end of the day, let's use some of that crypto money so we can invest. You know what I mean? Tick, whatever his name is. So yeah, man, that's it. Just go to the website, book an appointment, and we'll tell you how to do these things. It's not make believe, it's real. You know, we are a product of the product at the end of the day. So
Facts.
We'll talk. All right, people. So that's pretty much it. Make sure you guys go to rktrealestate.com and step up your money game. You feel what I'm saying? We out of here. Peace. We out.